Well, YouTube, it is now the 26th of March. Isn't it the 26th? Yeah, I think it is. So it's the 26th of March, and I'm still working on my coronavirus infection scientific wild guess equation. And the news is excellent. I mean, if not just not excellent, it's incredible. It's astounding. This is what I have for the 24th, a couple of days ago. Predicted value, actual value. I don't know what the accuracy here is, but it's really close. And I did it today again. And I've got to remember, I haven't changed this equation in days, quite a while. So it's not like I'm continually changing the coefficient or anything like that. I've done that in the past, but I'm not doing it anymore because I'd like to have some kind of credibility. A lot of people don't understand that as you go through something like this, you're going to have to adjust your calculations from time to time, and it's not cheating. But eventually, you got to quit doing that. You got to say, "This is where I stand," because you lose all credibility. If you do it every day throughout the entire crisis, well, obviously your results are going to be fantastic. So here's what we got today, March 26th. Here's what my equation predicts, and here's the actual total of all the cases in the entire world. Now remember, if this were an epidemic in the United States, like the flu epidemic that we're currently in, which is much worse than this, this number would be about 35 million. Okay, and for those of you who are bad at math, 35 million is a lot bigger than 480,000. So here's what we got. Now, when you divide these numbers out, you get an accuracy of almost exactly 9%. Okay, so unless I made a mistake, which I could have made, but anyway, it's around 9%. The thing is, oh, by the way, this is today's pointing device. This is a barrel from my grandpa's Sweet 16 shotgun that I inherited, not from my grandfather, but from my dad, because my grandma gave it to my dad after my grandfather died. If you don't know what a Sweet 16 is, you're probably eating too much soy. So you need to get out there, get yourself an AR-15, get yourself a Bible, and report back. So I don't know what to tell you about this. I never thought this would work out this well because there's so many factors you can't take into account here. All I did was take two dates and do a very simple differential equation that there are probably 2 million people in the United States. Well, not 2 million. Let's face it, our school system's not what it used to be. But there's hundreds of thousands of people in the United States that could do this. And like I've said before, even the C students could pull it off. And this came out. I had to adjust it several times, but it's been days, and the equation is doing really well. And I'm still going to tell you, this is not a plague. It's not a plague. This is nothing like a plague. I mean, 35 million over the entire flu season of about 100 days, and this is what we have over a longer period. The entire world. I mean, 35 million is for America, and this is for the entire world, which has something like 20 times our population. I really wish people were better at math. I wish they wouldn't watch the news and listen to people that are hysterical, that have a burning desire to unseat Trump no matter what happens. They want to make things look as bad as possible. They don't. Reporters, maybe I shouldn't say this, but reporters are not the most intelligent people on earth. That's just the truth. I mean, I know some of them are smart, but generally they're not highly intelligent people. They go into, if they take any kind of college training at all, what they tend to take is, they major in something called communications. Now, if you remember back when you were in college, there were people that you weren't very kind to based on the majors that they took, because you knew that these were majors for people who just didn't have a lot on the ball. And communications is one of those majors. And journalism, how bright do you have to be a journalist? You write things down, you ask people questions, and then you go type it up and you give it to somebody else who edits it and corrects your mistakes, corrects your grammar and spelling, and then it goes out over the airwaves or onto an internet website. It's not rocket science. A high school student can do it. A grade school student can do it. So we have a lot of people who aren't terribly bright. They hate Donald Trump, and they're pushing this panic scenario because it makes them a lot of money and raises their profile. And then we have politicians who are doing the same thing. Why? Well, they're not all that brilliant either. And it gives them a chance to get in front of cameras, which helps them out, helps them to make even more money. And when the next election comes around, they're going to be in real trouble if somebody can say, you didn't wet your pants and run down the street screaming when this non-crisis occurred. They know they're never going to be able to explain to people. They're never going to be able to explain this. People don't want to hear it. All people are going to think about is, I couldn't get toilet paper for 3 weeks. So this is really good. This is incredibly good. I never expected this. 9%, 9%. Now you can look at this if you're smart and you can say, well, this is less than 9% and this is 9%. So what if next week this is 3 million %? It's not going to do that. I mean, I would guess that this is going to go up. This discrepancy is probably going to increase, but it's also going to go down. So I don't think this is bad. I don't think this is going to be wildly out of line. I mean, this might go up to something like 50%. We're testing more people. And by the way, this thing, remember, this disease, according to the Chinese researchers, the tests generate 40 to 80% false positives. But anyway, we're testing more and more people, and that's going to drive up the figures, even if the infection really isn't increasing at the rate that it seems to be. So we may have, it's hard to explain this. Maybe people won't understand this. We may have depressed figures in the past describing the numbers of people who would have tested positive for this had they been tested. I'll put it that way. I won't say deceptive figures for the actual number of cases. I don't think we ever could have figured that out. But anyway, the more we, if we had the kind of testing program going on in the past that we have now, probably the numbers in the past would have been higher. I mean, I'm sure they would have. So there's going to be some weirdness and some distortion. I don't know. I guess I'm babbling now, but 9%. And if this number, remember, if this number is like 500%, this is still indicative. Well, not this, but the numbers, the absolute numbers themselves are still indicative of a non-plague, a plague that didn't happen. Boy, remember 2009, the giant swine flu epidemic under Obama, and everybody thought Obama was wonderful, and he always got the participation prize. He got the Nobel Prize essentially before he was elected. I mean, he was nominated, I believe, before he actually got in office, wasn't he? Well, it was very, very early. He didn't do anything. And then he got in office, and was a fairly warlike guy. Nobel Peace Prize. A lot of money comes with that prize. I don't know what it is now. It was like $1.5 million or something. For doing nothing. So if Obama were in office right now, we'd be hearing people saying, there's no problem, go to work, it's not as bad as the flu. They'd be saying what I'm saying, except they would not be saying it from a position of any type of reason. So, very happy. Now, somebody who watches my channel here, one of my 3 or 4 viewers, some of my channels that are racking up massive totals of like 60 and 70 views. Some of my videos are really doing well by my standards. But you have to remember, about 40 to 50 of those views are likely to be me watching the video over and over. Nonetheless, somebody has watched, and somebody posted a comment, and he said his wife got angry. This is a guy that knows a little bit about differential equations. He's had the courses, and his wife has not. So he said his wife got angry, and this is something that's predictable. It's totally predictable, and I did predict it. His wife got mad because the numbers I used were not exact, and he couldn't explain to her, that's not how the world works. You don't get exact numbers, and even if you get them, you don't really need them a lot of the time. I mean, if you're within a few percentage points for something like this, for the actual values or whatever, it's not that big a deal, because you're not trying to come up with a prediction that's accurate to the microscopic level. That's not necessary, and it can't be done anyway. People who are not mathematical, not scientific, it's very hard to talk to them. And I'll tell you something else, may make women mad, which is okay, because I've been doing it all my life. It's not hard. Women, now not all women obviously, but women, there's a tendency with women to enjoy being upset, to enjoy being worried. And it's not a good thing, because worry is, God hates worry, and worry is actually a form of disobedience, believe it or not. But a lot of people have in their heads that it's a righteous thing. So there's an awful lot of women out there who feel that if they're worried, it makes them good people. And it's something they do also to manipulate. If I'm upset, then somebody has to swoop in and fix my problem. So it's a way to manipulate people to do your will. And a lot of women have just become accustomed to this. And when they get worried and they get upset, and you try to calm them down, they get angry at you. And this is a little less common in men, but it's very common in women and children. They just want to be upset because somewhere in their hearts they know that if they do this, somebody may do what they want to do. Somebody may come in and fix their problem. So I don't know what to tell you about that. It's something people ought to take. People should take that as constructive criticism and not get mad at me and say, "Am I doing that?" Because it's better to take a positive attitude and say, if I have a problem, it's a good thing when someone brings good news. It's a good thing when someone tries to make me feel better. So, I don't know. It's not really shocking that a man would have an argument with his wife over this. And I hope this lady, she's probably a great person, just a little tense about this. So I hope that he has some success in calming her fears. Frustrating. Oh, I'm having a sale. I've still got this nearly full container of Germ-X, and I don't think it's ever been opened. I'm not sure, and I'm pretty sure that is Germ-X. I don't think that's water in there. But these days, can you really afford to take a chance on? Can you risk missing out on a deal like this? So I'm selling that for $500. That's the price today. Tomorrow, maybe a little higher. So if you're interested in this Germ-X or a roll of toilet paper, I'll tell you what. Give me 600, and I'll give you half a roll of toilet paper. I can't do any better than that. You're taking food out of my mouth. If I had food. Actually, I do have food. It's kind of getting backed up. There's some things that are hard to get, but it's weird. You know, you go to one store and one thing is out, and you go to another store and the other thing is out. And the people who are panicking, they need to coordinate. They need to either all buy the same thing, or I don't know. I mean, when people at one end of the street are hoarding apples and people at the other end of the street are positive that lemons are what they really need, and yet they can go to each other's stores, you know, the stores that are close to them, and get the things that they're hoarding. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So they really need, maybe we need some kind of big hoarding coordination website where people can get together and try to make sure they're all hoarding the same things. And maybe they could hoard things that nobody cares about, like liver, and the rest of us would all benefit from that. So, I guess I'll just recap and quit. Really good news. And remember, I didn't start on the 24th. I started days before that. So don't say, oh, it's only 2 days. No, it's not only 2 days. It's quite a while. So my suggestion is go outside, inhale deeply, and enjoy life. That's what I plan to do. I'm going to go get back to work on my target stand for my Hickok 45 starter kit. So God bless everybody. Enjoy your day.